Hello, everyone, and welcome to our today's webinar. For those who joining us for the first time, my name is Alina Bonadonna, and I'm delighted to be a moderator for this session. Of course, I'm super happy to host this session where we are joined by Edward Sliwinski. How are you, Edward?
Yes, I'm fine. I'm looking forward to the webinar. Yes.
Me too. Last time, sorry guys, we had a bit of technical issues, but I'm pretty sure that this time we will deliver our webinar super smoothly. Can you please let us know that you hear us well, see us well? Just press on the reaction on the bottom left corner. Perfect. I see first thumbs ups. Great. Okay, some people also texted in the chat room. I think without further ado, we can just start with the presentation. Are you ready, Edward?
Yes, I am.
Okay, let's put on sharing screen button and share really long waiting slides.
Yes.
Great.
Okay. Welcome everybody in this webinar, part of the NEMIS Academy webinars. This webinar is about the CATALYSE project. This is an Horizon Europe project that started a year ago with the goal to catalyze scientific innovation into food safety action. And first, for you all, generally about food safety. About 600 million people worldwide fall ill every year due to the consumption of contaminated food. And even people die of this cause, and 1/3 of the deaths are kids younger than 5 years. Um, Very important measures to enhance food security is by minimizing food waste in the supply chain, and we can do this by preventing food contamination issues or by extending shelf life. So by those measures, we have a nice connection between food safety and food security. Additionally, in low and middle income countries, unsafe food has an economic cost of about 110 billion dollars every year due to productivity loss and treatment costs. So the cost for society of unsafe food consumption are quite significant. And four organizations, WHO, UNEP, FAO, WOAH, they collaborate in the One Health Joint Plan of Action to drive change and transformation that is required to mitigate the impact of current and future health challenges. So the European Union thinks has one of the most stringent food safety regulations in the world, from a general food law to sectorial laws. But around the world, researchers are pioneering new food safety technologies. They develop new ideas, they develop new applications, new processes, they test them in the development phase, and of course they would like to roll them out commercially so that they are used where they are most suitable. But there are barriers that prevent the uptake of these new innovations. It can be partly due to the stringent food safety regulation system we have in Europe, but it can also be due to other reasons. For instance, that those innovators are working for a university and they're not so familiar with commercialization of their new invention. But the Catalyze project was asked to increase the uptake of new innovations in the food safety area by supporting inventors, innovators to develop and test their amazing ideas and to connect with end users and also to get decision makers on board to help it to make it work. Some facts about the Catalyze project. It's the title of the call text was Thematic Network Ensuring Food Safety by Translating Research and Innovation into Practice. It's a 3 years project that started 1st of January in 2024, so we are now more than 1 year underway. We have 17 partners that represent, let's say, the key actor types in the food system, so research institutes and academia, industry associations, national regulatory bodies, and also some NGOs. And we have 13 countries which are red on the map, so you can see we are quite well spread over Europe. And we are a very enthusiastic team that really wants to deliver on our plans. What is the ambition of CATALYSE? We want to help to accelerate the uptake of knowledge and innovative solutions that promote food safety by end users. And to achieve this, we want to encourage end users, such as food authorities and food processing companies, to prioritize and to support innovation in their organizations. So to have a bit more open mind, to be willing to collaborate, sometimes maybe to share some sensitive information, because that's needed to make progress, to collaborate well with other parties. And on the other end, we want to support startups and SMEs with promising innovations in food safety to let's say to have a larger audience and to be better able to collaborate with their potential customers. So you can think of giving them the floor in conferences or fairs to pitch their solution or to present it, to be in booths on fairs. But also we want to try to create direct connections between end users and those innovators to see if they can set up joint trials where the results will be discussed with more food processing companies at one time, so that things can go faster. As said, you could say it in another way. The aim of CATALYSE is to create a strong, sustainable, and inclusive community, both online and in practice, to address the diverse needs of stakeholders in the entire food chain when it comes to ensuring food safety. So part of the activities, and a very important one of CATALYSE, is to build a community of practice that will function as a platform where information can be shared, where people can interact with each other, where events are announced, and where, let's say, people can start to network and create collaborations. In this community of practice, there will be information that is, you could say, currently available. So there will be a database, a searchable database of scientific publications, but also other types of information for members to go to access and to benefit from. But there will also be, let's say, education developed in the CATALYSE project, but also we will place already existing education of high quality. We will also put it in a community of practice. And you're all encouraged to sign up as a member. The community of practice will go live in June this year, but you can also already pre-register, and there is a website for this, and we are already putting some information in that you can benefit from. The working model for CATALYSE is it's a bit special. We had quite heavy discussions about this. We discussed that we want to perform four different activities. In the first place, we want to collect information about, let's say, scientific papers about progress in new technologies. Collect information about, let's say, issues in food safety or publications that are really relevant for the field. Also, maybe a list of startups. Then we want to translate the knowledge that we found, so to make it easier accessible for people that are not so used to read scientific publications. And then we want to facilitate, which means that we want to bring parties together so that they can be more effective and more efficient. And we also want to help to educate people, let's say, in the general public, but also professionals that are active in the food system. So, and as a true organization that is catalyzing, you could say we are not part of this ourselves. We don't produce food. We are not innovating anything ourselves. We are not a potential customer. We are just let's say, facilitating the process. And that is what a catalyst should be. Then this is also quite crucial for the working model. We have tried to get partners on board, and you can see in the mid column the catalyzed partners that represent the four key stakeholder categories. So we have 3 country food authorities on board as a partner. We have several universities and research institutes on board as a partner. We have several industrial partners or industry associations as a partner. And then we also have some NGOs as a partner. The task of these partners is to connect with other stakeholders in their category. So the country food authorities should connect with FAO, WHO, EFSA. The research institutes should, academia, they should interact with some higher level organizations like Food Force, ICMSF, and the Global Harmonization Initiative. The Food Rank Europe and some country associations, they should interact with the industry. And ILSI and EFOST, they should also interact with some other partners that play an important role in this field. And then on top of this, these partners, they should make sure that in their layer that we have a European coverage. So the country food authority should also have interactions or guarantee that we have good interactions with all other country food authorities in Europe. And the same holds for the academic partners. And we also need this for the industry associations, but fortunately enough, we already have Food Rank Europe in our consortium. And ILSI and EFOS, they have quite strong European network already, but we also work with other European organizations together to make our European network even stronger. So in this simple table, you see one of the hearts of the CATALYSE project. Then how we are organized in work packages. Work package 1 is the project coordination. Below you see work package 8, which is communication, dissemination, and policy recommendations. We have one work package that is focusing on stakeholder management. And in the first year, ILSA Europe did a lot of work to get more information about the true needs of end users. A lot of people were interviewed, there were surveys sent out, there were several workshops where we could interview people. So this is laying the foundation for the rest of the work that we will do. Then work package 4 is preparing the community of practice. Work package 3, the knowledge and database is being developed. And in work package 6, the education is being developed. And this will all lead to work package 5, where we deploy the catalyzed community of practice. And then we also have a work package, company support and exploitation, focusing on these aspects. And one important task is, of course, to support all partners with their exploitation plans, but also to support the SMEs and startups that we want to give the floor and give the possibility to grow. And then I have to mention that we have a specific use case on cheese and dairy with partners from Switzerland and Ukraine. And this is specifically to support the dairy sector in Ukraine. So we are quite proud that we have this as part of the project. So what are we expected to deliver? First, I already mentioned this, a prioritized list with needs from end users. And there is already a report. I'm not sure if it can be public, but thanks to the stakeholder interactions with that ILSI had, we have a nice view on this. We also are producing a list of high potential innovations, and this will come in the second part of my presentations. We are always open for new tips, let's say startups or SMEs that we didn't notice yet. So please inform us. There will be this searchable knowledge database. There will be this vivid community of practice. There will be a high quality education plan. We want to facilitate better connections between end users and innovators, and the end game is to get an improved uptake of new innovations in food safety. So how we look at the system is that we see there are, let's say, 3 categories where we see innovations coming in. The first one is to detect hazards, and then you can think of new innovative analysis methods. The second one is to reduce the presence of hazards, and then you can think of alternative decontamination methods. And then there's the option to prevent and control hazards. And here we see a range of digital applications that are really beneficial. On the picture, I put an old-fashioned microplate for microbiological analysis, but there's a lot going on in these fields. There's a lot of, in fact, we are surprised at a lot of innovations uh, that's being worked on, that's being developed. So first for detection, we can recognize a number of innovation areas here: rapid detection methods, portable handheld devices, omics analysis methods, which are linked to all the possibilities we have nowadays to study the DNA. Those experiments are going much faster than in the past. So there's a lot of information that can become available when these methods are being used, and then we can analyze the results using those omics methods. Multi-compound analysis, so you do one experiment and you get results on more compounds than one, but also combined analytical methods that can be more accurate, and also the use of sensors is increasing. When we dive a little bit deeper into this category, then we can see that there is a trend for rapid on-site tests, like near-infrared based handheld uh, test, DNA-based lab on a chip, and you have affinity tests using laminar flow. And I have here the example of Unisensor, which is a Belgium SME, which is working with laminar flow and specific affinity. And I mentioned them here because last year they won an award from the IDF for the technology they developed to measure antimicrobials in milk, which is highly relevant for the sector. And I think this is a very innovative company that I would like to mention in this case. Then we see quite some publications upcoming with mass spectroscopy, which can be combined with other methods, where multiple compounds can be measured at one go. Then there is a startup, Spore Bio, which combines photonics and AI for bacterial detection in real time. And for your information, they got funding, I think, for 23 million euros last week. So they will be able to make a large investment in their R&D in the years to come. And I also see upcoming a number of imaging technologies, and also sometimes in combination with other technologies. And on the previous slide, there was a picture of a digital microscope from Opto GmbH. It's a company in Germany that started recently a collaboration with Redberry. But there are more examples of where imaging technologies are being used for detection. Then there are a number of examples of sensors. Cold chain control, that's a Dutch company that helps to monitor the temperature for, let's say, high value shipments. They are, for instance, active in pharma, but to monitor the temperature could also be quite relevant for food. We have Black Bear that monitors the freshness of every pack. They have low gust sensors that they combine with AI software. And this is a general trend. You will see it more often in this presentation, that there will be several combinations made with a new technology and AI. Then we are aware of this SMEs Invisible that can produce quite cheap, low power printed e-paper displays that you can use as a sensor in your research, for instance. And the hero on this slide is Keepit. That's a Norwegian startup that has developed a sensor that can measure the time temperature profile. And in that sense, it can help to predict the remaining shelf life. And so this is in the sensor. Depending on the time temperature history, the indicator will give you information. Well, this can still be used for 3 days or for 6 days, or this is very close to the expiry date. This is a special case because in most countries in Europe, the legislation does not permit that only this sensor is used because we have a fixed best before date or best by date. And I'm informed that recently there was a sandbox agreed with the Dutch government, and Keep It can do some tests in the Netherlands where the date that they should put on, the fixed date, is not presented, but only this sensor is shown and gives information to you about to the customer about the remaining shelf life. So this is one aspect. Let's say the existing regulations, they can hinder the uptake of innovations, but in this case, because this sandbox is agreed with the Dutch government, they can move on. They are based in Norway. Norway has different legislation. I think in Norway the the legislation, let's say what they do in practice, is already more flexible, so they don't have an issue there. But to reach more countries, they need to be able to do these tests. Then where we have the second innovation area to reduce, and there we have identified at least 5 different categories. So one is mild processing technologies, the other one is mild decontamination technologies, which where there's some relationship between them two. Green cleaning processes, green cleaning, disinfection agents, and natural solutions. So again, here there are a lot of possibilities. We'll dive a little bit deeper into it. So of course you have high pressure processing and pulsed electric field, and they already are commercialized to some extent. I also know that Sonosteam, a combination of heating with sonication, has already some uptake. I think especially in the poultry business. A relatively new process is the combination of heating with UV light, and there's a Danish startup, Liras. They are linked with Aalborg University, and they are my hero on this slide because the technology looks really promising, and there are some nice applications where they could focus on to expand. So please keep this one in mind for the future. Then there are other technologies like radio frequency plus heat for in-shell egg pasteurization, and also cold plasma technologies for the decontamination of food and food contact services. But especially the latter is still in the research phase, so it will take, when it is approved, that it will take at least 10 years before this will be applied on an industrial scale. Then for hygiene and cleaning, there are some interesting companies out there that use robotics. And you can imagine that when you have a robot that is much smaller, it weighs much less, and it has cameras and everything. So you can do remote inspection for containers, tanks, piping, spray dryers. That's why I know the example from. Hopefully it can go much more hygienic, the inspection. It can go faster because all the time when equipment is not running, it costs money. So this is quite a nice development. The hero on this page is WattAir. That's a Swiss startup, and they have developed a pH neutral process to clean water, and they're using membrane cell electrolysis. There's no, let's say, active compound in the solution when let's say when they use it for cleaning. It's still a small company, but they have a really high success rate in with veterinarians that want to be having clean gloves, etc., when they operate horses, and the results are really good in this area. And they also now have sold equipment to a Dutch company that produces fresh cut vegetables, and they use the water that is treated with the WattAir process to clean the vegetables. And in this sense, you have to know that there are also specific regulations for what is allowed or not. So this is allowed in the Netherlands because there is no, let's say, cleaning agent in the water, and it is pH neutral. There is another competing company that has some, let's say, cleaning compound in the water phase, and they are not allowed to do this in the Netherlands, but they are allowed to use this in Spain because the Spanish government says you can consider it as a processing aid. So there are some disagreements with different countries, but the wet air process can be used both in the Netherlands and in Spain. And from the other company, it can only be used in Spain because they found this, let's say, workaround in the regulations. Then some other companies, Neurala, they use vision AI software to improve visual inspection, so that could be nicely connected with the robotics. A nice startup in Germany called Katma, they have developed a fully automated interior cleaning machine for trailers. As Catalyse project, we have Enfit as a partner. Enfit is an organization that is focused on, let's say, ensuring food safety in the logistics process. They really strongly focus on hygiene. And I heard about this startup at the Enfit conference last year. Uh, uh, Usually, let's say, trucks are cleaned by the driver. He has to go in with the sprayer. It's not nice to do, and it depends on the person. And Katma has developed a machine to do this. So when a truck driver goes to the cleaning station, the truck is cleaned automatically on the outside, but also uh, with very high standards on the inside. And then a kind of a bridge between hygiene and cleaning and natural solutions. Bacteriophages are also more and more used as agents, let's say, to keep contamination low. They are allowed for use, for instance, in the US and some other countries, but not in Europe. But you can understand that there's the companies that are producing these cocktails of phages that they also would like to be able to sell their products in Europe. So maybe it would be a good idea to have a sandbox also for these bacteriophages so that we can start to do trials in Europe. And then we have some other natural solutions that are more to extend shelf life. We have lactic acid bacteria that can be used in fermentation to produce fermented products like yogurt. We know that some of these lactic acid bacteria that they also produce some natural antimicrobials, but there can also be other reasons why they delay the growth of spoilage or pathogen microorganisms. And then we have two startups, one from Sweden, one from Spain. And I made the Spanish one the hero of this slide, that have developed a technology which is a plant-based coating they put on the fresh fruits to extend their shelf life and keep them fresh for longer. And this is such an example that makes the connection with the reduction of food waste, because when the vegetables stay fresh for longer, there's a longer period where they can be sold. There's a longer period where they're available for consumption. So it's that the chance that they get wasted is less. And then the third innovation area is, let's say, to predict and control. And this now we go more to the digital systems. We have here 6 categories that we identified. Maybe this will grow in the future, or maybe this will change slightly because there's so many developments. Early warning systems, quality management systems, digitalization in general, AI and big data analysis, blockchain-based solutions, and data sharing initiatives. So this is quite a rich area, and probably in some cases there will be combinations of these. First, the use of artificial intelligence for foresight. We know that FAO, that they have the special initiative on foresight in food safety. They use horizon scanning and trend analysis, so they can see if there are things changing and if we should be aware of an upcoming trend. Food Akai, this is the tool from Agrono, that's a Greek startup. They do the same, but they use forecasting models to produce predictions, and a company can become a member of their service. You get updates regularly, and then you get informed about upcoming challenges, upcoming issues that you should be aware of. And it can have consequences for um, um, where you buy your ingredients, or maybe how you treat your products in a certain processing step. iComply is a German startup which is trying to do something similar, but they focus on some other aspects like the presence of pesticides. And Sirion is a high Hungarian research institute that also want to signal trends early to give information about emerging risks. And at the IAFP conference last year, there was also someone from New Zealand, Nicola King, that was doing this type of work for a governmental organization. So there can be different players doing this. Then we have digitization. For me, the most important one is Q Assurance. That's a Dutch startup, and they have developed a platform that really makes your life easier when you have to work with HACCP and you have to be audited. The whole audit process can be done automatically. So of course you have to prepare in the factory, but there's no paperwork anymore, and it goes really smooth and it saves a lot of time. And I think I can characterize this company best by explaining that they get more requests to be taken over each month than they have staff. So it's a really efficient process that they have developed, and they are also developing extras. A French SME is Novolyze, and they can help you with artificial intelligence. They can be your food safety and quality advisor. Another one is Bulk Vision. I will come to that in a minute. Then we have Veva, that is a Dutch software house, and they work together with Nestle because Nestle had a request that they would like to have a connected system of companies, or let's say of factories that produce the same product. So let's say Nestle has 5 factories worldwide that produce KitKat, and then they want to be able to see what happens in those production processes in each factory, so that they can compare it and see it in one spreadsheet. So Veva is working with them to develop this, and it is of course also linked to HACCP, but this is a nice progress, but it is mostly suitable for large companies that have multiple factories that produce the same product. And then there's also an initiative from Biomérieux. They started a data sharing initiative, and we all know when you have a safe place, then companies are willing to share some data and to have discussions. So that's what they did. They use their digital technologies, and I think they have 5 or 6 multinationals involved. So let's see what this brings. Maybe this is a nice model for the future to make these companies also share some relevant data. I want to give some special attention to Bulk Vision. Bulk Vision is a tool developed by Envid, which I mentioned before. And this is, let's say, you could say digitizing the logistic process, making it transparent and secure by incorporating blockchain. So they have developed a digital tool. It's available now, which contains steps that are made immutable because it contains blockchain. And they also won an award last year. It is received really well. So please, when you are interested in this, take a closer look on their website. So then I come back to the end of my presentation. Again, to summarize the expected results. So we want to have a list of prioritized needs from end users, and we have done a lot of work on this already. We would like to have a list of high potential innovations. As you could hear in my presentation, we have a list already, but maybe it's not complete. Colleagues in Italy are working on the searchable knowledge database. Colleagues in Portugal, in Porto, are working on this vivid community of practice. And colleagues in Wageningen are now checking the available education information, and then they will develop also a high quality education program. Our goal is to make better connections between end users and innovators to improve the uptake of those new innovations in the food safety field. What are the advantages when you become a member of our community of practice? You can go networking, you can share knowledge, you can ask for some information, you will get privileged access to news and innovative solutions. You will get access to the special resources that we are developing. You can participate in training opportunities, and of course, you can also share information yourself. And you can pre-register in our community of practice via this QR code, but you can also go to the website where you also will find this option. It is already open for registration, but it will go live in the beginning of June this year. Then we have our website. Please go there to get informed about the project. We post news items, we post our newsletters, and linked to our newsletters, we have a PDF with relevant scientific papers that were published in this period, and also reports. And then it's more linked to reports from policymakers on specific topics relevant for food safety. On the left, you see the Catalyze news from the website. You can see that ProCheese was presenting themselves in the dairy forum, and also Catalyze was networking in Ghana. Sorry. And then on the right, you see the Catalyze Weekly. That is a special initiative we have. Every week on Thursday around lunchtime, we post this weekly with news items that are relevant that we collected in the week before. So they give up-to-date information about aspects related to health, microbiology, chemistry, digital aspects, and food safety management. Those are the different categories we made for this newsletter, for this weekly. So we have a normal newsletter that comes every 4 months, and every week we also share some information. And from these weeklies, we will also put a monthly collection on the website. Then we, of course, will be present at certain events. There are some nice conferences that I listed here: Foodborne Bacterial Toxins, the World Mycotoxin Forum, MIFI Conference, IAFP Europe, and then in June, very closely, one conference in Saint-Malo and one in Quimper, Salmonella and Salmonellosis, and microbial spoilers in food. And on the left, you see that we had several webinars last year, and they were mainly organized by ILSI as part of the stakeholder engagement activities. Then two special events. I already mentioned this, the 5th of June, there will be a public event on World Food Safety Day, where the community of practice will go live. And there will be nice presentations. You can also propose yourself when you're an interesting startup or SME. So please save the date. And then 16th September, our partner Flanders Food, they will organize their Hygiene for Food conference together with EHEDGE and Agoria. And the plan is that we will invite about 10 startups, SMEs, to give a pitch in this conference. There always are about 150, 200 people attending. There will be a marketplace with companies with booths. So this is also a really nice event. These are the partners. So you have the lineup: Universidade Católica de Sacré-Cœur, Universidade Católica Portuguesa, ILSI, EFOST, and then of course we're really happy to have ProCheese from Ukraine. That's it. That's my presentation. Thank you all very much for your attention. I can't hear you, Alina. I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I was still muted. Yeah,
yeah.
so thank you so much for so powerful and inspiring presentation. And I do believe that projects like Catalyse will really help to improve food safety system and in general food safety culture, not just in Europe, but globally as well. So, guys, I don't see your reactions. Where are hearts? Where are claps? Please give us appreciation to this lovely and inspiring presentation. While our guests are dropping questions, I want to start first, if you don't mind.
Yes, that's fine. Yes.
So, just as a side thought, what kind of a global impact could Catalyze have on the really global food safety landscape? How would you describe it?
Yeah, yeah. I think one aspect that I didn't mention is that it's especially for smaller food processing companies, it is difficult to make the right choice for the partner. Let's say that companies realize that they need to digitize, but they don't know with whom to work. And I think we could play a role there by analyzing which partners are around, which potential ones, and then maybe uh, uh, give a recommendation. And that I think that could help this category of companies that do not have the time to analyze it all themselves. I think usually maybe you meet someone at a conference, and then you talk to this person and say, okay, let's have a meeting, and then you start working with them maybe, or you have a test. But maybe we can make this processing more efficient, this process by helping them, by giving them advice on the, let's say, on the SMEs or initiatives that we have identified.
Yeah, definitely. And you also mentioned a lot the implementation of AI and big data. And on your opinion, how can AI and big data analysis and the different aspects you mentioned can help to predict and control food safety risks?
Yeah, that's a bit of a difficult question. We see really a lot of initiatives ongoing now with AI, and I was at a conference a month ago, and then there was a warning that sometimes you have something called an AI winter. So it means that when people and investors are really positive about the technology, that
Mhm.
it gets a lot of attention and a lot of funds go to it, and then when the parties cannot deliver on this technology, then funders become reluctant to invest in it, and then you end up in an AI winter, as it was called. And what I noticed at that conference was that everything that was digital was called AI because that would make it easier to get funding, and that's not the right thing to do. So
Yeah.
when we were developing the proposal for the Titan project, which is another project which also has food safety and digitalization parts, blockchain was really in fashion. And you see now that it's I think it ended up in a winter, but it's coming out already because there are some initiatives that are still there. And the bulk vision from Enfit is a really good example where it is part of the solution. So with AI, I think it can really help to speed up things, to analyze the data. But yeah, usually you call it a big data when you analyze big data sets. Um, but there are a lot of combinations where you have, for instance, a detection method or processing method, and you have some AI functionality added to it. And I think that for sure will go on in the future, and that will, yeah, um, it will make things more efficient, I think.
Yeah, there is always like a bit of marketing behind certain terms just to make it look and sound more attractive, right?
Yes, yeah, yeah,
And AI is currently really on a hype, and you cannot be really trendy without using this word.
indeed, yes, yeah.
Yeah, but still, you really mentioned super important, on my opinion, thing about prediction and plus this temperature control and like also shelf life. But do you see any impact of this technology for environmental monitoring specifically, especially rapid tests for environmental monitoring?
Yeah, so this is a very good question because in practice, hygiene managers they have a limited budget and they also have limited time that they can do their work because the production has the highest priority. And yeah, it could be that a new technology becomes available, that they can get results faster or more accurate results. But this doesn't mean that the hygiene manager succeeds in getting a higher budget for his or her part of the work. So yeah, I think an environmental monitoring plan is key to a good functioning of monitoring of food safety plans in a factory. And I think still a lot can be done to educate people in how to do this. But I'm not sure if companies will give a higher budget to these activities when there's a new technology, and that is one of the hurdles I see. That we can of course develop a lot of new technologies, better detection methods, but when there's not a saving in there, then then it's unsure how well it will be taken up. And of course, there can be differences between, let's say, hygiene managers or quality managers in food production, or let's say people that are working for food authorities or the laboratories of food authorities, because you can expect they have some more money, they have some more degrees of freedom. But yeah, I think these aspects play a large role. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of things are really got stuck because of budgeting, unfortunately.
Yes. Yeah.
So there are a couple of really interesting questions from previous session, which I would love you to also answer. The next one, for example, would you agree in changing or upgrading the seven HACCP principles, HACCP principles?
In adapting them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that I can only give a general answer on these, and that it's only we can adapt them when it gives an improvement and when it doesn't harm food safety. But one of the aspects that's important is that we could have regulations that are too strict and that hinder innovation. So the system should be good enough to guarantee or ensure good food safety, but it should be flexible enough to give room for new innovations. Yeah, and we get new information continuously, so that could lead to an adaptation of these principles. Yeah.
Yeah, and also you talk a lot about innovation from a technical perspective, but what about managerial and methodological innovation? Is it also something Catalyze consider? Catalyze.
Yes, it is part of the catalyze activities. Um, uh, yeah, and let's say with the list of innovative SMEs, we focused more on companies that try to bring a new technology. But we know there's a lot ongoing with, for instance, with food safety culture. And that this is, of course, really important. And what I can say is that in the activity they're doing to collect existing education information, I think they analyzed now 20% of what they found, and maybe 80% of this had to do with food safety culture. So there's a lot of training, education material available for people. Um, but we have to see how it relates to, let's say, innovations that can reach the market. But we know that there are quite some, let's say, consultancies and also companies that are advising other companies that we could also give attention. Yes.
Great. And also in general, can you emphasize how does Catalyze aim to support startups and SMEs in the food safety sector?
Yes, I can. Yeah, because that is it's one of my favorite topics. It's I am involved in this work. We do it together with FIAP, but as you noticed, also Flanders Food is trying to be active. I think we did quite some effort, and this effort started already when we started to talk about the proposal. So that's 1.5 year before it started. We started to collect a list of startups. We cannot give them funding, but of course we can help to give them the floor, like with our LinkedIn profile and our newsletter. Yeah, I think when Liras or Unisensor or when they won an award or when Spore Bio got this large funding, I think we try to make it a news item in our newsletter, so that I think that helps to spread the news, and I think it also helps to get them known. And but then we really would like to have activities where they can get in closer contact with potential end users. And that is something for the second period of the project where we will be acting on this. And the conference that is organized by Flanders Food is really important for this, hygiene for food. So I think it's the right topic. Where now in this case, this one, the startups will be able to pitch, but the audience of the conference are mainly people working in food processing companies. And it is also very important that we have a connection with eHedge because they have many of the food safety and quality managers in their association. So that really helps to create the contact. And yeah, we have to see to what extent we really can help to, let's say, to get trials discussed and started. As a member of the Catalyse project, we have an initiative that is led by the Quadram Institute in UK, and they are leading a similar initiative as Catalyse, but then for the UK. It started earlier, so we can also learn from what they are doing. But they have meetings with um, people from food authorities, from academia, and from industry, and they have discussions and they prioritize and they discuss certain new developments and they also select some to do trials on. So that is something that we also would like to achieve in the Catalyze project.
Great. It's really super important to support new projects, especially in regards of food safety and everything which makes our life better.
Yes.
Yeah, there is another question coming in. In my current job, we use biomapping and the program for monitoring CCPS, but we still haven't been able to identify the main points of salmonella contamination because they vary constantly. Could AI help with this? Thank you and congratulations for your presentation.
Yeah, I think it could, but when you can't find, let's say, the root cause at the moment, then maybe then there is something you don't know. And it is the question if AI can help you in this case, because the AI will also not know. And from let's say, from what I know is that it mainly works with information you already have, then it can model. But uh, yeah, you could say you can always give it a try and see, let's say, put the data you have in a model and let's see what it comes up with. But it could then maybe not be AI but big data analysis, but that is up to you. Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe as a like recommendation from your side, Edward, like what are some digital solution would help manage food quality and safety better in terms of maybe existing implemented by Catalyze?
Yeah, so I already said I'm really fond of Q Assurance. It's a company in the Netherlands, and they have really made a unique system. And yeah, it is, you could say, a level higher than just digitalization because they can make your life really easy around audits, but it means that your execution of the AHA CCP plans have to be very good. So yeah, my recommendation would be to give a good look at this one. I think Novolyze is already also in the market for quite some time, so that could be a good partner. And then it depends on where you are, because I'm informed now that also in Canada, for instance, there are some good initiatives. But when you want to have a close relationship, then it's maybe better to have let's say, a company that's a bit more close. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And maybe, as far as I don't see any further question, maybe like a few personal key takeaways from your side, Edward, you can share so we can sum up our session today.
Yeah. Yeah. In the first place, it's yeah, you could say it's an honor to work in such a project, and it's also great when you start talking about it, inviting people to join, that it's selected for funding, and then you can start working on it. Yeah, I think it's a really important topic, food safety. It has large implications for people and our society. So I think it's really rewarding to work on this topic and to contribute in a positive way. And then, yeah, you could say in line with what is now being discussed in the European community and what was proposed by Draghi in his report, we would like to, in the Catalyze project specifically, to support upcoming and new initiatives, startups, SMEs to bring their new technology under the attention so that they can grow. And well, it can be a small contribution to a flourishing European economy. I think that's my take on it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really very important highlight. And you guys, if you feel a willingness to connect with Edward afterward, you are welcome, of course, 100%. Drop me a message if you want to have slides. And definitely, I'm looking forward to see you guys in our next presentation, which will be already 5th of March, and there we will talk about salmonella. And if some of you is coming to this year's BRCGS Connect in Europe in Milan, which will be already this Thursday, I will be super happy to connect personally because I'm really very curious to see in person who is constantly attending our webinars. And thank you so much, Edward, for joining us today. I wish to see you joining us for further webinars as well as a speaker, and wish to hear more about upcoming projects. And wishing you all guys amazing day, and let's see each other in the next webinars. Bye.
Okay, thank you very much. Bye bye.